right, so you welcome back. The segment you saw earlier was trending economic issues with Weston, and it was discussing some major issues from Nigeria, Zimbabwe, with Courage Kingsley Mante and then Celeste Macaulay. They both economic analysts with Data Bank, and it's time to go straight to our topic for the day. Today is our investment corner, and I'm excited because I have Mr. Benjamin Afreh, who is the general manager for GC Brokerage, and quite an in-depth when it comes to issues regards to investment. He has a lot of knowledge there when it comes to investments. So therefore today we want to find out, in current situations where the economy is quite shaken and difficulties, people are laying off workers and companies are trying their best to reduce cost of operation, how can we create wealth? Mr. Benjamin Afreh will be giving us more tips on this particular issue. Mr. Benjamin Afreh, I want to say thank you for joining us on this segment.
Happy to be here. It's been a while.
Yes. So how's your weekend been? And quite a long break. We haven't seen you for some time. What have you been up to?
Oh, not much, but just working to build our companies up in whatever capacity, in whatever way possible. So we've been around, but we've also been doing some investment education, trying to close some deals, business deals as well. So we've been around.
First quarter, how is GC Brokerage performing?
It's been a difficult quarter, I will be honest with you, because the market hasn't done as well as we had anticipated. You know, if you look at the trends prior to election year, if you look at the trends, our anticipation was that this year would be, it will follow the trend. Okay. It will follow the same sequence as we've seen in prior election years. But first quarter has been difficult, but I really believe that the second quarter onwards will be better.
Okay.
Because of something that we've put in place, some new strategies we've put in place. So I'm very, very definite that things will turn around. Also because there are some projects that you know, that'll be coming on board anytime soon this month. So that gives us also some further, you know, good feeling that the second quarter subsequent will be a good one. Yeah.
Great. Since we haven't had you for some time now, we know the governor, we're having a new governor for the BOG. Let me just find out, what are your expectations from him?
Well, I think the major expectation for businesses will be how this new governor can stabilize the currency. I'm not saying he can do it alone, but you know, what kind of tools are they going to employ under his leadership, under his governance, to bring stability to the currency is very important. Interest rates regime as well hasn't been very favorable to businesses. I know the previous governor and his team looked at how they will arrest inflation by most often, you know, inching up the interest rates. I am looking at my hope is that he will look at other ways by which we can bring stability to the economy, and at the same time, you know, reducing interest rates. What new thinking is he bringing on board? It's something that I'll be interested in looking at as well. But as I was telling other people, we just have to give him the benefit of the doubt and believe that he's the right person to do the work. I'm sure the next MPC meeting or the subsequent MPC meetings will tell us, you know, what kind of person that he really is, and if he indeed is the right person to be the governor. But I would give him the benefit of the doubt and hope that we'll see a much more stable economy, a much more stable currency, a better interest rate regime to encourage the local companies, you know, to borrow from the system. But one of the key things as well is how firm he can be in terms of not giving into government demands for borrowing or the money that they advance to government. You know, previously, the Bank of Ghana has always given more than the quota that the law allows them to give to government. I'm hoping that he will be a lot more stronger and a lot more firmer, so that they don't give more than what the law requires them to do. So those are my expectations for the new government.
All right, so we're hoping that he'll be able to live up to expectations. Yes. But let's go straight to this issue. We're looking at creating wealth amidst difficulties. And first of all, what we're going through, most people have described the current state of the economy as quite challenging and being difficult. I want to find out what's your opinion on that. Are we going through difficulties? And if we are, how do individuals create wealth amid current challenges?
Yeah, truly, there are difficulties. This new year started with quite a flurry of taxes on quite a number of things. We had the levy, the power levy on fuel coming in. We had levies on capital gains tax coming. We've seen levies or taxes on investments, and so it's brought quite a bit of hardship to people. I don't think it's been easy this first quarter. I don't think it's been easy. If businesses are suffering, then obviously employees, invariably employees will also suffer, because the kind of outlook that they'll be looking at, the kind of result that they'll be looking at, they may not be able to attain them, because it's been a very challenging economy, especially this first quarter. We've seen stability in the currency front, some stability compared to the same period last year, but it hasn't been easy. But even in the midst of all of that, I have always been of the firm belief that you can still create some wealth out of it.
Okay.
And let me take the stock market, for example.
Okay.
It hasn't done as well as we're anticipating, as I've already alluded to. But even within that, and the fact that there are companies you may be expecting their prices to be going up, but they're coming down, this might just be the opportune time to invest in the stock market. Because the market is said that it normally reflects how the economy is. So when the economy is going through trying and difficult times, the stock market invariably reflects what is going on. So my belief has always been that when you enter or go into the market when it isn't doing that well, when things turn around, you stand to gain.
But how long will it take, for instance, if someone decides to go into the stock market in times like this, how long should one expect its investment to actually turn around to make some gains?
When you talk about wealth creation, it's not a day's job.
Definitely.
And it's important that we keep that in mind and that as a focus. It's not a day's job. It's something you have to do diligently. You have to do with a lot of patience, because it might not always work out. Some of your investments might not always work out if you are looking to build wealth. But you learn from those lessons and do better investments, subsequently. So I would not stick my neck out and say in the next 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. But what I would say is that if you are looking at wealth creation, then you are looking at more than just a year. You're looking at a long-term, project. And so if you begin now, you stand a better chance of doing massively well later on. If you look at the stock market, anyone who invested in the market 10 years ago wouldn't be the same person now, because the prices then were much, much lower. And if you compare, there are people who have made well over 1,000%, 220,000% on investment that they made years ago that is bearing fruit now. It tells you that wealth creation is not just a day's job, but with time. So I would look at the formal market, which is the stock market, the treasury bill market, and all of that, and I would say you may have to look at putting some money in the stock market now, because the market is not doing well, but it's just the right time to look for some very good stocks that are not doing well now and put the funds in. I'm sure people are watching.
Which stocks do you think that if someone wants to go into the market right now, what are some of the stocks that you think that they can take advantage of?
You see, I can give you quite a number of examples, but you have to look at what the person is looking out for, really. Because there are growth stocks, there are income stocks, and all of that. Now, if somebody is looking to make some income, then you are looking at somebody who will be looking for a company that pays dividends, right? So your consideration then will go to, how many companies are paying dividends and what kind of dividends are they paying at all? So there are considerations. It's not just that, buy this or buy that. You need to talk to the person, get to understand what exactly they want to do, what exactly they want to achieve, and then you can point them to the right stocks. But otherwise, you can look at, I mean, just on top of my head, you can look at EcoBank, you can look at Goil, Farm Milk, you can look at Cowbank, and well, even some banks like HFC and the rest, who have seen some difficulty, I believe that they will bounce back. So it might just be the right time to just invest in some of them now, and then we make a good fortune with time. But I've always believed, and as the market dictates, it's not a day's job. It's something you have to do with patience and diligence, and it will pan out.
Okay, moving away from stocks, how can one actually turn his or her hobby into business in current state where we've confronted with some difficulties?
Well, you know, in the current state where there are difficulties, I've already established that it doesn't mean there are no opportunities. Even in this state, there are quite a lot of opportunities.
Okay.
I found something interesting. I think about 2 months or so ago, somebody sent me a link. It's an online marketplace for spare parts. I had never dreamt of that. So I can go online, that site, look at what spare parts I'm looking for, check out the price, and even buy online, and then they will deliver. Right? It gives you, so the one who created that created a certain market for himself. So I don't need to go to where they sell the spare parts. I'm also trying to look for spare parts. But I can go online, check which spare parts are there, actually compare the price, and then make a purchase. So, but then I'm saying that it takes a lot of dedication, and indeed, it must be of real interest, right? Something that you are really, I would say you have a special interest in it. If you do, then you can turn something like that into a real business. Like the clothing, the African wear we are doing now. You know, if you have a real passion to see people wearing the African print with some real beautiful designs, why not? You may not be the one, sewing the thing. The ones designing and selling your designs to those who buy them. So those are things that you could look at. I mean, if you have enough space around your house, for example, you could be doing some small vegetable garden that you could be selling to even your neighbors, because you might not be able to consume, assuming you have decided to do cabbage, some small cabbage, garden. You can't consume all the cabbage yourself. You may want to look at, okay, how do you even utilize that space that you have in doing that garden and either selling, or even if you're not selling, you can use it. So the money that you'd have used to buy, you keep the money in your account. That is something that you could be looking at. But it takes somebody, or if it's a hobby, if you want to turn it into business, there must be that special interest in it, that passion, in it, before you can really turn it into a business.
But if it's not a hobby and it is some micro jobs you want to do just to be able to earn yourself some living, what are some of the key things they need to take note of? Because sometimes people are quick, they identify their challenges and they want to make some money. They are quick in jumping into any form of venture without looking at the pros and cons of those business. What would be your advice when people decide to go into any venture just to probably support themselves within the short term?
Well, if you're looking at the short term, but I will look at how sustainable it is.
Okay.
Interestingly, sometimes there are jobs, but people's interests are simply not there, right? So even if you offer it to them, they may not really take it up. So you must have a real interest in whatever it is. But I see sometimes it could be a means to a bigger opportunity, so you would have to look at your circumstance. You would have to look at, if you take on that additional job or that micro job or that small job, what additional income is it bringing to you? Is it worth it? Is it sustainable? Those are some things that you could look at. So maybe the whole of the weekend you don't really have any serious thing to do. Then you realize that you could probably help out somebody and then earn something in return. Why not? You could do that. I've seen people who are security men. Then during their days off, They are gardeners. They go to people's homes to help them with their garden, weeding and all of that, and they earn something on top. So you could do that. It is only when you have maybe a very demanding work that you may find it difficult to look for another one to be seriously engaged in. But if not, I really believe that if you sit back, you may be able to identify some opportunities there that you can easily take advantage of. Where I live, for example, I was telling somebody just this weekend that we don't have any massive shopping mall or shopping center there.
Okay.
So you may have to drive all the way to either any of the malls in Accra, right, to shop. But if you look at the population in where I live, it is not small, and interestingly, it is also growing. So it gives anybody an opportunity then to look at what can we do. And it doesn't have to be you alone. Sometimes it is partnering with others. They can realize your goals and your dreams and your objectives. So it doesn't always have to be you alone doing it. But if you could partner with somebody, assuming there's a land that is selling for 10,000, unfortunately you have only 3,000. But then you have others who can put up some money to buy the land to do whatever project you want to do. If you really lay out exactly what it is and it's interesting, you may get others helping you or come together to buy the land. So a land that you alone find difficult to buy, you could buy because you've come together with others to do it. So you may look at partnering others as well.
But that's one thing we hardly see among the young people.
But now it's picking up.
Trust.
Exactly.
So how can we break that record? Or what if you want to partner with someone? What are some of the things you need to take into consideration, especially when it has to do with money and then friendship, and you don't want to destroy that kind of relationship that exists between the two of you?
I mean, common interest is key. If you have common interest, it is very helpful. Then again, you see, as you said, there must be mutual respect, and then there should be trust. If you respect whatever venture we are doing, then you will know that I have an equal share in whatever it is that we are putting together, and we can build trust in that. But I also believe that sometimes, and most often, it is good that you document things. So if it is registering the business, register it in such a way that it is transparent, right? And if, for example, 3 of us come together to do something, but I am the one who ends up managing it, we must look at a fair means of compensating the one who is managing it. Even though all of us have contributions, and at the end of the day, we would share whatever returns or profit that we make. But if it is one of us who is managing it, then we need to look at how equitable or the fair means of compensating a person for doing the job. Otherwise, we have to look for or employ somebody else to come and do it and pay the person. So those are some of the things that you have to look at. But I would think that transparency is important. Everything you have to do, documenting it is important. You don't take decisions on your own and push others to buy it. If you have some real good decision to make or some real points to make, I would look at how do you build consensus, because it's not your business alone. It is our business. How do we build consensus in moving something? So those are some of the things that you should look at. Maybe
my final point, I want to find out, how can one reduce his or a tax bill and invest the difference to be able to make some money in difficult times?
I think that, okay, for a start, anyone who is taking a close look at the new pensions law, you would realize that the more you contribute to your pension, the less tax that you pay. The more you contribute to your pension, the less tax you pay. Because the tax that is deducted is after you've paid your pension. So if I'm earning 100 cedis, ordinarily, maybe there'll be, let's say there's a 25% tax on 100 cedis, right? Now, that leaves you with just about 75 cedis as a take-home. If you decide to take out a pension, a payment of, let's say, 20 Ghana cedis, what the law is saying is that you earn 100 cedis. When you take out the 20 cedis towards your pension, It is only the
80 that you are being
is taxed.
taxed.
So instead of paying 25 cedis in tax, you end up paying less than 25 cedis, and then end up contributing that portion towards your pension. I remind you, wealth creation is not just about today, as I said, but it's also about tomorrow. How can you live comfortably in your pension? So you should look at how you can increase your contribution in your pension. It is important. If you can do that, you pay less tax to government and rather contribute more towards your own pension. And so I will look at that one. I will also look at the fact that for those people who file their taxes, and it's important that everybody does, as even individuals, there are tax benefits that you get or tax rebates that you get if you file your taxes and you file them well and on time. You see, when you do that, there are certain things that are tax allowable. So it doesn't it is not taxed. Even if it is taxed later on, it is refunded to you. So you should be filing your tax as often and as every year. You must do that. It is important. Now, if you also have a mortgage as your primary place of residence and you file your tax, the opportunities for you to actually save on the interest that you'll be paying, there are laws that allow you to do that.
But unfortunately, it's just a few people who know about this, what you're telling us. So is it to say that regulators are not educating the public very well, especially in terms of tax paying, some of the benefit that you stand to get when you file your taxes? What can we do to be able to make sure that this education goes down
I look at it in a different way. I look at it as an opportunity to create new jobs in the market. Because you could actually set up a consultancy, a partner, or a company that advises individuals on their tax alone. You understand?
So this is one business idea you can decide to go into. I'm sure
you're good with your tax. You, the person, you must get good tax advisors to help you.
So not necessarily you having the skills. You can employ people who are very good at that, and that's what GC Brokerage, that you advise people on investments.
Partner others. You could partner, if you have a good tax expert, you could partner the person, set up a company that advises companies and individuals and even helps them file their taxes. Because such people understand the tax laws. And they will be able to tell you, well, if you do this, you get a tax benefit. If you do that, you get a tax benefit. So it is good that you take something, we look at that as well. So I will not necessarily say the tax authorities are not doing their work. I'd rather look at it the other way. That there's an opportunity for somebody to really make a good living being a tax advisor and helping people file their taxes.
So we have been discussing ways of creating wealth in difficult times. What would be that key message you want to leave with viewers?
Well, there is no time like now. That is what I'll say. There's no time like now. Tomorrow is gone. You don't know what happens, tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. You don't know what happens tomorrow. You have today. So whatever decision you have to make it today. And then with patience, with diligence, I'm sure you can save and make as much money as you want. As I was saying before we came on the program, for example, there are times buying in bulk saves you time, saves you money. So we want to look at some of those things as well.
All right, so I want to say thank you to you, Mr. Benjamin Afreh. He is the general manager for GC Brokerage. And just a message, if someone wants to contact GC Brokerage, what exactly are you into?
Well, we trade in stocks. We help people invest on the stock market. For those who are interested in buying treasury bills as well, they can talk to us. If you're interested in raising capital on the stock market, you can talk to us as well. So basically, that's what we do.
Do you advise people on if they want to go into any business venture, if they have some capital?
We could talk to you. Even if we are unable to do it directly, we have other, key stakeholders within the group of companies who would easily help you do that. So you can always talk to us on that.
All right. So I want to say thank you to you once again. And we'll be having Mr. Benjamin Afreh every Wednesday on our Investment Corner. And bringing you mind-blowing things that you need to do to be able to not only create wealth, how to sustain it, and other investment opportunities that exist. Remember, he says that the time is now. Yesterday is gone, and you don't know what the future holds. So if you want to do anything, just take advantage or take the opportunity that exists today and then try as much as possible to make things work for you. On that note, we would introduce you to our Stock Connect segment, where we'll bring you updates of how the trading activities on the stock market actually went.